G'day everyone, I'm finally back at the desk after 3 rounds away and 2 cancelled races. Welcome to this edition of DURKO's Notebook for the 2026 Miami Grand Prix. Got a shitload of stuff I want to talk about, so pull up a pew, sit back, relax and enjoy the show. You wouldn't fucking read about it. So we returned to Miami as the 4th race of the season, which was planned to be the 6th, but due to the decisions of a bloke who lives in another country who's getting his house renovated at the moment, the Bahrain and Saudi Arabian Grand Prix were cancelled. Anyway, that gave the teams a chance to go away and recoup after the first 3 races, which were heavily criticised for their resultant action and the way the cars were being driven. And the drivers essentially weren't too happy with them because of the way they had to be driven. And this was all about the, building up of energy as they came into a corner. They were obviously braking and just coasting through corners and shit. They weren't driving as hard as they could. So the regs were changed to some degree with less energy take-up, slightly less reliant factor on the battery source and more reliant on the actual PU with the ICE attached to it, which has, I think, brought about a good weekend. So I'm going to give a tick the box for the FIA for actually listening to, obviously, the fans, because I would say the fans' feedback has got through as well as the drivers, and the change, I believe, has been for the better. Yeah, it was interesting to see Ferrari and Red Bull both turned up with their oscillating rear wing, which doesn't seem to, I wouldn't say it's having any great outstanding overall effect compared to the normal wings that are just going straight up. But time may tell at different circuits. At Miami, I don't think it was overly obvious that it was creating any great performance gain for them. Now, Lawson, he got no penalty for his shunt into Gasly where he flipped him, and that was because he busted his gearbox. He was coming down the back straight, and his box of cogs took an early leave, and Lawson was out of the race anyway, but the scrutiny of it all was that Lawson was deemed to have not been at fault as such because he wasn't really in control of the car because of his gearbox shitting itself. Now, one thing I'm going to criticise is the driver stewards. Obviously, Max has done a minor infraction of exiting the pit lane across the white line, which is a very short white line, and he's got to cross it. But why in the hell does it take to the end of the race and about 2 hours after the race is finished for them to give a decision to a 5-second penalty be handed out? Why can't they do it in 3 laps? There should be a mandate that if the race is still running and the car is in performance position, it doesn't matter whether it's in points or the back of the field, as long as the car is still running as a competitor in the race, there should be a time limit of 3 laps for the stewards to say, shit, okay, let's review it, quick, go, yep, look, yep. I mean, they do it in football. They go up to the upstairs to the box. Old mate's sitting there with his TV remote, rewinds, yep, forwards, pause, yep, check, yep, no worries, yep, penalty, no try, whatever. But why can't they do it in F1? They've got a million cameras all over the track and the cars. Surely somebody or 2 blokes could sit there and say, yep, he's crossed the white line, 5-second penalty within 3 laps. Why it takes hours to do it is beyond me. And the same thing happens to Leclerc. I mean, he got a 20-second penalty for breaching the track limits most of the race. Now, Antonelli, he has obviously won his 3rd race in a row, and from 3rd pole in a row, which is no mean feat itself. But I'm putting the statement out there, I believe he's now... Toto's got to give him the position of number 1 driver at Merc, because George is just getting chewed up and spat out by Antonelli in his 2nd season. And it's going to be interesting to see how the season pans out. I mean, we've still got 20 races to go. Or, no, we don't have 20, but we've still got a shitload of races to go. Now that we've got Miami out of the way, we can get some decent circuits. So I think Antonelli has got into George Russell's headspace and he's screwing with him. And it's to Antonelli's advantage, and I think he's going to run away with the championship by the end of the season. I'll make an early call. So I'm going to say, overall, with the changes to the rules and regs, it was a decent race. Yes, I've been heavily critical of Miami as a shit circuit. I still don't like it, but I think the amendments to the regs and rules were adapted well to this weekend at Miami. It was a great race because I started watching it at 3 a.m. and it kept me awake. There was no reason to fall asleep, which I normally would do if the race was boring, but it was a decent race. And there was close racing, so I've got to give credit to that. But I'm certainly looking forward to, with these new rules and regs, them going to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in a couple of weeks, to a decent circuit, and see how they go there with the sprint race and the main race with some closer racing and closer battles. So that's it. It's good to be. F1 is back again after a very long break. And I know some people have probably switched off from it and gone, yep, lost interest, move on to something else. But F1's back, baby, and it's good. All right, see you in a couple of weeks' time for Canada. Until then, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.